Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. I want to welcome you back to another segment of Talking About Success. My guest today is Michelle Nagel, and you're an amazing woman. I want people to know a little bit more about you. She's the author of a forthcoming book. The current working title is Soul Shift for Transformation, Journey to True Self-Discovery. And she's also an entrepreneur, an author, a master herbalist, and I'm so excited. She's a certified Jack Canfield Success Principles trainer out there actually doing the work, training people all over the world. I'm really excited about that. And she shows you how to go from who you are to who you want to be. I love that. I always say from where you are to where you want to be, but who you are to who you want to be. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about this concept of soul shift. What does it mean to have a soul shift?
Well, most of us are carrying around trauma from our childhood that we're not aware is causing stumbling blocks for us. And so a soul shift is when you, first of all, recognize that those stumbling blocks are there, and then you recognize that you don't have to keep them, that it's a limiting belief or some expectation that one of your authorities, which would be your parents or your grandparents, that they put upon you, and you've just followed along because that's what they taught you. But when you suddenly realize that I don't have to live my life this way, and I don't want to live my life this way, I'd rather live it in a different way that brings me joy or is more authentic to who I really am. And then it's kind of a ka-chunk that goes on, that's a shift when you realize that you have the power to accept 100% responsibility for your life and make those changes.
Very good. Now, I know that a big part of your mission, purpose, intention in life is to empower women to transform their lives.
Yes.
What led you to do that? What made you focus on that?
Well, unfortunately, I had a very traumatic childhood, and I just felt tremendous pain, and I was unable to get out of different situations. I kept making the same choices over and over and over again. And I would say to myself, Michelle, you're not that dumb. Why can't you figure this out? Why can't you figure your life out? And then I began examining and learning about a whole bunch of different kinds of energy therapies that would help me release those traumas out of my cellular tissue. And then that's when I met you, which is just absolutely perfect, because if you have a negative habit or a negative belief and you try to get rid of it, unless you replace it with something good, then it's going to just suck you right back in again, because that's the habit. And so that's why I studied the success principles, and that's why I became one of your trainers, because it's hand in hand with the work that I do. So I help people release those traumatic beliefs and traumatic experiences from their cellular tissues, and then we implant the success principles so that they can become the kind of person that they want to be. They can shift their entire persona.
Why is it so difficult to kind of push through life without addressing and handling and releasing and replacing these limiting beliefs?
Well, a limiting belief is like a child that is constantly jumping around for your attention. It's like, pick me. And they're saying, pay attention to me. And if you don't pay attention to them and you just stuff them down, you're not there, I can't see you, I don't feel you, this didn't happen to me, then they're going to start causing problems in your cellular tissue. And so they've done studies that have discovered that the emotions that we have, the negative emotions that we stuff inside ourselves, will then cause health issues, real health issues. For example, a woman who has been sexually assaulted is 36% more likely to develop uterine cancer than a woman who has not.
Now, I remember, I think it was Esther Hicks said, you don't want to just put a smiley face on the gas gauge that says it's empty.
Yes.
It looks good, but you're still out of gas.
Right.
So you've got to release that. Yeah, it's still controlling your subconscious mind. It's amazing. So why is soul shift so important?
Well, because nobody has come up with the map on how to get there. As I said before, I was always going, how do I figure this out? I need to be able to figure it out. And then when I finally did figure it out, I thought, look, it's taken me this many years to figure this out. Why don't I come together with a program and make it so that it's like a jump start for people, so that they don't have to slog through and try to figure it out like I did. If I give them the map and they can follow the map and then work through their traumas that way and overcome their limiting beliefs because they've got the map, it just shortens it for so many people. So instead of spending 30 years in pain, you can figure it out a whole lot faster.
So you talk about releasing this literally from your cellular tissue, as you will. That may sound a little weird to people, that these are living in your cells. Talk a little about that for just a moment. What does that mean? How do you do that?
Well, it's actually possible to inherit emotions, inherit traumas from our ancestors, and they have shown that emotions can actually shift your DNA. And so if you've gone through a traumatic experience in your childhood, or even in your adult life, and you suppress it, it can actually alter your DNA so that the next generation has that altered DNA in them. And so in many cases, the emotion that you might be having that might keep you from trying to achieve something may not even be yours. It may be something that you inherited from a grandparent.
I read recently about people on, like, if you're living in a depressed country, perhaps like, Russia under Soviet rule, or you're living in a welfare situation generation after generation, that it starts to become part of the, like you said, the DNA. It's not just a mental thing, but it's part of the physiology of the body. But as I understand it, and correct me if you don't think this is the same way, but it's not that our DNA is different. It's that there's little switches that have been turned off. And we could turn those back on again with the kind of work you're doing. It's the gene expression.
Yes.
Yeah, you see it the same way. Good. Very cool. So this pathway that you talk about, this system you've created, could you give us just a little preview of what some of those steps are?
Well, first of all, you have to recognize that you have a problem. And then I take people through a series of exercises to be able to identify their limiting beliefs. Then we work on helping them get them out by actually using the different energy therapies that I will teach them. And then they're able to sit back and we do meditations and help them get in touch with themselves, with their own soul, to figure out what do they want to be when they grow up. And it doesn't matter. It works for the ages of, it works for any age. So even I had a woman recently who was 85 years old who went through my class, and she was so excited and so thrilled to realize that she wasn't dead yet, and she still had all of these dreams that she had never achieved. And every morning when she wakes up, she goes, "Oh, I'm still here. I've got one more day to try to achieve that dream."
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So we have all these people out there watching this. If there was one piece of advice you could give them if they wanted to make a change in their life, like you're talking about, what would just one thing you would tell them?
The most important thing, and I get emotional when I think about this because of the difference that it made in my life, is to accept 100% responsibility for your life. When you realize that you are the one in the driver's seat, it's not your ancestors, it's not your parents, it's not your boss or anybody else in the world around you who determines what your life is going to be like. It's you. And you have that power. And having just learning that and taking that into my deep cellular level has completely changed and transformed my entire life. So what I would say to people is accept 100% responsibility for your life. Today is a new day. And when you say, I'm in charge and this is what I want to do, it empowers you in ways that you can't even begin to imagine.
I agree with you. Very beautiful. So if someone wanted to get a hold of you to take one of your workshops, hire you for a speaking engagement or training or whatever, how would they go about doing that?
My website is isoulshift.com.
isoulshift.com.
Yes.
Very good. Well, I wish we had more time. This is great.
Thank you.
So isoulshift.com, make sure you check that out. Look forward to her book when it comes out. It'll be on your website, I'm sure, or people will find out about it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.